Alright, so why doesn't Mainstage sound good out of the box? You've got to spend a bit of time setting stuff up. So I thought I'd go through how I set up a basic pad in Mainstage. There's a few little tricks that can really help you getting it sounding good. So the first thing I'm going to do is, in this normal setup, just add a few controllers in. So I'm going to just add a fader in and a couple of these. And I'm just going to assign them to some places. So I'm going to assign this one to my volume control, like so. I'm going to assign this one up here to one of these round knobs, and this one to another round knob. And we'll just have a look where this keyboard's going. So this keyboard's going here, so that should work. Alright, that'll do for now. And then I can play. Ah, that's working. Easy. So if I come over this side here, first thing I'm going to do is find a nice basic pad. And now this is one of the trickiest parts, is actually just going through and listening to all the sounds. So I might just start here on this classic pad. I just want to really, in the background, straight plain pad, just to fill up some space. I don't want it to be really even noticed. I just want it to be sitting there in the background, just making some ambience. And for me, this is a good starting point. Next, we just take off all these effects. I want to hear what this thing actually sounds like and play around with the sound. So that gets rid of all that. Alright, and what you should set up pretty much straight away with this is a cutoff. So the cutoff of the up here is really changing the sound a lot, and it's very, very helpful for any sounds, because it's really, I don't know, it's just useful, just trust me. So what I'm going to do is stick it on the mod wheel. So here my source is going to be the mod wheel, and then I'm going to make the mod wheel target the cutoff wheels, and that's how much it's going to do it. So if I do my mod wheel up and down, so you can hear how that's changing the sound. That's great. And these are kind of the defaults for that sound. So if I want to dull it off a bit as my lowest setting, I can do that. So I want it pretty straight, so that's going to sound good about there. Now, one thing doesn't work here is that as I play with the mod wheel, my sound gets louder and it's going to jump out, front of house, and we don't want it jumping out at front of house. So a little trick you can do here is to grab the mod wheel again and put it onto the amp, which is the volume, and then just make it go negative a bit. And this means that as the brightness increases, the volume decreases. Well, should. So that might be hard to hear, but that's working really well. I'm going to do it heaps because I really want it to be obvious. So. Yeah, so that sounds to me like it's on the verge of actually being quieter when I turn it up, which for me is not a bad thing. While I'm in here, I might change a few things. I can hear the tuning for me is a bit too far out. If I put the mod wheel, I can hear it's a bit too out of tune for my liking, so I'm just going to drop these a bit hard to see this number, even that tuning out a bit. And I'm just going to try and take some of these out. I really want it straight. What's this sound like? Yeah, so it's up to you with this one. I might leave these on. Alright. That'll do in here for now. So what I want to do now is I want to have some thinking about how I'm going to use this, and what I want is this to be this bed of sound. And so when I play, I don't care about how loud and soft I'm playing. I just want it to come out at the same thing all the time. This is really useful when you're layering. You really want this. And so I come over here to the MIDI input. You have to have that channel selected there. And this velocity scaling, I'm basically saying, I don't really care. I just want you to be flat. At 100, can I grab this corner? I can. And that means it doesn't matter what I play, it's the same volume. So really light. It's not making any difference. And you might think, well, that's hopeless. You want to be loud and soft. And the thing is, yes, I do want to be loud and soft. But what I'm going to use to be loud and soft with my pad is just the overall volume. So that's what I'm going to use. Now, a little thing that's happening here is you can see when I turn my volume up, it's going up to over 0, which means it's not doing it now, but if I put the cutoff up, it's really getting close to peaking. And so I can fix that. I'll come over here, grab this guy, and I'll map this parameter. I'll say you're going to go to the volume, and then when I'm here, I can just say, hey, can you just max out at 0 for me? Oh, 0.3 for now. That'll do. And then get rid of all this. So when I move my, you can see over here now, see it doesn't go up past the 0. So I'm not gonna. Okay, so I've got two pretty important things, or three things set up here. I've got the cutoff wheel. I've got the main volume. And I've got the mod wheel set up. So I've already got 3 different ways to play around with this, and I've changed the velocity scaling. So that's 3 things. Now this one gets a bit up to how you want to do this, but I'll show you this. One thing here, you can hear when I'm playing, I'm getting this poof, and it's going everywhere. I don't want that. I just want it to do what I'm telling it to do. And so what I'm going to come and do is muck around with this thing down here. So the attack, how long does it take to start? Well, I want it to start instantly. If you make it like 0, it can click a bit. So I want just off 0. And then for me, I want it to hold for as long as I'm holding, and then stop when I pull off. So these two here, don't worry about. It's just release and attack. So you can hear that's. And then you can back off the mod wheel or the cutoff, and then I get this. And you can hear that I've got a really straight pad, but it's also doing what I'm wanting to do. And you might want to have a bit more of a boomy effect to it, or you might want to, you might want to actually use the ADSR. So a common thing is I don't always want this sharp cutoff at the end of that. And so what you can, of course, do is just use your volume. So you go, or if you're really clever with your left hand, you'll do your mod wheel and your volume at the same time. So that's giving me some real flexibility. And the real flexibility here is suddenly I've got a pad that's really quite useful, almost as a keyboard. Oh, there we go. And for example, one of the songs I was playing recently in a show had this pad, and then it went to a resi, like a ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, like a more of a arpeggiator sound. So I could go from this pad. Yeah, okay, you can play around with that. Maybe this release is a bit out of control, so maybe you want to make it a bit nicer than that. But it's pretty useful. Okay, and then what I like to do is put a reverb on or an effect on, and so we'll set up a sort of shimmer pad. So if I want something a bit more than this straight pad, I can do that. So here we go. I am going to send something to the bus. So I come over to this one here, bus 2. I'm going to add a pitch shifter on and mix at 100%, 12 semitones, which is an octave. And if I just listen to that for now, I'll get rid of this other stuff for a second. So I'm going to send that to this bus, turn it on, and then I'm going to solo this. So you can hear it's going up a pitch. That's my original. And in my effect channel, I'm just getting this hot. And then I grab a reverb. I'm going to go this silver verb. Give it a nice big size. And I want to hear lots of top end, and I don't want to hear lots of bottom end, because I don't want a big boomy room. I want just like an ethereal top end sound. I don't really want reverb in the bottom end. That's no good for anyone. So what does this sound like? Oh, it's probably too big, but that'll do for now. So you can hear that sounding. Yep, we've set that one up. And we can get rid of all this. Like you just, oh, what have I called this? Small room. Okay, I have to remember that's called small room for now. Okay, so what I do now is if I come over to this guy, which remember I assigned right back at the start, and I say in my classic pad, use the send bus 2 small room, and we want to map this guy here like that. I have no idea what that one is. It's alright. Do I want this one to get a +6? Yes, I do. And then let's just check what's going on here. So I can see that's moving that. Beautiful. So if I just play this now, well, it's a bit ugly chord. So, and then I should be able to wind in. So, yeah, so that one's working really well, I think, with the heaps of brightness in the pad. So when I've got lots of I'm really liking that, and when it's down soft, it's not working so well for me. So I might have to set up another one for when it's a bit softer or something like that. But the key being is that I've got this just sitting here ready to go, so I can play something. Just wind it in, it's beautiful. Ah. Alright. That'll do for that one. And then probably the last thing you'd want to do now is you can start adding layers on. So obviously you can go crazy with layers, but the classic thing here would be to add a piano on or something like that. So I think if we just copied that thing, that was Command C, Command V, and then I'd go and get myself a piano, and this, what's this sounding? Oh yeah, it's sounding alright. And you can see here where the velocity is really working. So the piano I've got, I can't do it very well on this keyboard. Oh no, it's not doing it. But I want this to be a velocity thing on. Look at that. So that's Command Copy. Don't want to do that. That's probably a terrible. So that's working well now. I can hear the pad going the whole time, and I can't. And the piano is working like a piano. Don't know what's happening with my speakers there, but anyway. Okay. I reckon that's enough for a pad. That's giving you a lot of options. So the main thing I think is this cutoff wheel. That's giving you a heap of options here. And then, you know, that we started with one bass sound, so you could do all that again, starting with a different bass sound, different effects. We haven't even got into adding some EQ into that yet, so you could EQ that. Hope that's helpful, and see you around. Take luck.